Hi, my name is Travis Daniel Gehring, and I'm going to show you a couple of things that I found problematic while working with Matlab compared to Octave Forge. Now, Matlab, you have to go into VLab, the university's website. So the first problem we have is logging into VLab, which takes a couple of seconds. Log on, has to open a receiver on your computer itself. This takes a little bit in the process, a little bit tricky. Sometimes VLab's not working correctly and you can't start a project or something else goes wrong. So here it's booting up. We just have to wait a couple seconds for it to boot up. This compared to Octave Forge actually has, it's a open source, so you can download the software itself so that you can just click on it from your desktop and get going. But once Matlab's finally pulled up, you get it up here, and you create whatever you want. Now, the one thing that's different between Octave Forge and Matlab is more graphical interface. So it's a lot easier to see the buttons, do what you need to do, and find things easier. Where Octave Forge is slightly harder to find. It's more input for coding. Now, what I want to do here is just outline a couple things. So it's creating a new script. So you can see that up here, it's easy in the top left corner. You just click on the button. Everything works. Where in Octave, you kind of have to open it up manually so much. It's not that graphic interface. And then the other thing about Matlab that I've been finding compared to Octave Forge is when you decide you're going to do a for loop. So we're going to say for I is equal to 5. So it's going to run through 5 iterations. We're just going to say x is equal to 1 plus 5. So basically what it'll run through is say, okay, we're going to take 1 plus 5 5 times. So we run the code, and the other nice thing is you get a big, nice, shiny button right here up in the middle top left where it says run. Makes it a lot easier, and it's going to prompt you to save. So we're just going to save it as test under that file, save, and we're going to replace it, yes. So when it runs, the nice thing is the command window just outputs, okay, x is going to equal 6. Well, that's the one iteration. But the difference between Matlab and Octave Forge is Matlab has this nice space where you can take the command window down here, you can move it around, and everything's nice and neat, and you can also see your code. Now, Octave Forge only lets you see one at a time. So if you're running a code, running a script, it gets confusing and hard to take and switch between the two screens to figure out what's wrong, because your output is down here in your command window and your input's up here in your script. So when you're switching between the two, it can kind of get confusing, especially when you have, instead of 3 lines of code, you're talking a couple hundred. So a little bit of a downfall, but overall Octave Forge and Matlab pretty similar, there was just a few differences, like the opening of the two programs and the differences of just usability, really, of the two programs that really set them apart. And thank you for listening.